Hello and welcome to Montage of Singapore. I'm going to start the show with a beautiful saying by Maya Angelou. And it says, I have found that among its other benefits, giving liberates the soul of the giver. What a beautiful thought to begin the show with, isn't it? This is what we're going to talk about on the show in this episode, where we have two very special guests who believe in giving back to society in more than one way. I'll be introducing them to you. But first of all, a very warm welcome to all our viewers who are watching this special episode of Montage of Singapore, produced by Masti Media Network and supported by National Integration Council. I'm your host for the evening. My name is Mehak, and we will begin by introducing our guest in a while. But before that, let's have a quick look at the highlights of the last episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Montage of Singapore. A very warm welcome to our special guest this evening, Melissa Maria from GIS, who is the principal.
I'm a perfectionist by nature. You know, when I looked at this entire HDB system, it was for me a conceptualization of perfection. And I said to the universe, I wish this becomes my workplace. And I wish that my son can grow up here. A special moment of pride for me was when I had a picture of me in the Straits Time, trying to bring about more collaboration between our local school children and our international school children. I think they'll complement one another more towards, serving the nation better. I think I'm going to miss the food court culture and food. The cereal prawns, sambal stingray.
Oh my God, I love that too.
And the crabs.
Oh, yeah.
And the mantau. So I think this is opening our arms and bringing in the community to learn from best practices. For all our audience, you are up for a beautiful surprise with a couple who have actually gone through the highs and lows, whether it's entrepreneurship or cultural integration.
It's time for me to say goodbye. Well, that was the highlights of the last episode. And today, in this very special episode of Montage of Singapore, I am thrilled to introduce our guest for the evening. Well, let me tell you, there is going to be a couple on the show this evening, and this couple made a conscious decision of moving to Singapore about 3 decades back. What prompted the move? How did they settle down? How was Singapore at that point of time? And how did they actually make sure that they make it home at the same time? Do not forget to give back to society that they had grown to appreciate so much. We'll introduce them after this very short break. So here we are, and very excited to welcome our guests for the show today on Montage of Singapore. We have Bindu and Narinder with us, and Narinder is also very famously known as NJ. We'll talk more about that. But I am totally excited to have both of you here.
Likewise.
Likewise. It's a pleasure to be on the show.
So, it's very easy for me to kind of just introduce you, who you are, what you've been doing. But I think there is more character to it when I ask the guests to introduce themselves, because then, it's their style. So who's going to begin?
Well, technically, I came first.
Very technical people.
Yeah. So I'm a manager by profession and later turned entrepreneur. And I landed in Singapore, I remember very clearly, on 29th of February, 1996.
A leap year.
It was a leap year and a leap for our family. So it was a leap of faith into coming into Singapore. It's been 27 years, nearly 3 decades, as you said. So it's been very good. And we came here because we thought it was, a good place to be professionally, family-wise, and yet be closer to India.
Lovely. Yes, it is indeed. I mean, a lot of people from India who come here definitely have this thing at the back of the mind that it is closer to India.
Absolutely.
They can go back to India to take care of their parents, or maybe if there is an emergency. So yeah, this is a perfect place. And then, of course, it comes with so many other perks and benefits here that people just don't want to go back wherever they come hear from. So
True.
coming to you, Bindu, I mean, how would you like to introduce yourself to the audience today?
Okay, so I would say I'm made in India, but definitely re-engineered in Singapore. So when we came here about in 27 years ago, to be precise, I came with the intention of following my profession. I'm an accountant by profession. So, but when I came here, I saw that the place has so much more to offer. So I actually um, got invited by the government to help the SMEs, to help computerize the SMEs, and that was a big deal for me.
Wow.
So that was when both my husband and I, we started on our entrepreneurship journey, and I took it. We actually were with EDB for a while, and then my husband took over from there. He carried on the entrepreneurship journey, which still continues.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
you know, so you remember any of the episodes when you guys came here at that point of time? Something funny that tickled your bone, something that you still remember, maybe in relation with the language here, the style, or the ways of life. Do you remember anything?
I can tell you something from my experience, work experience, because I came here to work in a company.
Sure.
And I must say that I struggled a bit with the Singlish in the early days.
Like we all do.
Yeah, and so much so that I think in my office, when I would talk to some people who had a stronger accent than others, I would actually try to lip read them. And I think the first 3 months were spent like that until now I'm totally comfortable.
How cool. So now you are an expert. Do you
In
practice
listening,
that?
in listening. I'm still
not
not
lip reading anymore.
no, don't need to do that.
Hmm.
And I'm not very good at speaking it, so I must confess that.
Oh, I was just about to ask you, could you just say a few phrases in Singlish? But now, you've already backed out. So maybe at another point during the show, I'm going to ask you that question. But
Also can.
Lamau, I'm
also
not,
can. Okay.
can also, cannot also.
Can. All right. Okay. So let me ask this question to Bindu now. So Bindu, what was it that made you take the leap and come to Singapore? So what triggered your move here?
So absolutely, Mehak, we were living in Dubai prior to coming here, and we had our two children who were like very small at that time, and we had heard so much about Singapore and its progressive ways that we both decided very consciously that we wanted to make Singapore our home, and we wanted our children to grow up here. So we took a very conscious decision, look for jobs, came here, and
How nice.
yeah.
And it has been a beautiful journey, and that's why you're here even after almost
Yes.
27 years.
No regrets, absolutely.
Which is absolutely amazing. And so many of us actually come to Singapore, we make this home, and it becomes a beautiful way of life for us. Well, it brings a lot of joy for me to announce that we'll be moving to the next segment called Joy of Singapore. We'll talk about that, but after this very short break. All right, welcome back after this very short break right here on this very special show called Montage of Singapore. And as I said, that in the next segment, we'll be talking about the joys of Singapore, the ways of life, what we absolutely love about here in Singapore is what we're going to talk about. And we have our special guests in the studios. We have Bindu and NJ with us. And I'm going to ask them some questions. So are you guys ready for that?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. These won't be very difficult questions, I promise you. And no need to be nervous.
Okay.
I don't bite on weekends. So the first question is, what is your favorite Singapore related fact? Is there something that, a very factual thing that you really like about Singapore? So what is your favorite Singapore related fact?
So
yeah, go ahead.
I'll okay. So for me, I think Singapore's organized ways, and that the fact that, as I told you, Singapore never makes a mistake for the second time.
Wow.
And I love it.
I like that one liner. It's so cool. Singapore and people in Singapore never make the mistake the second time. That's super cool. It comes out of a Bollywood movie straight away, no?
No,
Okay.
it's my original.
Original dialogue writer right here on Montage of Singapore, and we're totally loving it. Maybe we can use Bindu for some of the script writing. Some of my work can, be helped with. So thank you for that. And I'm going to ask NJ the next question. Okay, so this question we ask all our all the guests who come on the show. So if you were to leave Singapore, so if you left Singapore, what would you miss the most and what would you miss the least?
So I guess the obvious answer is you'd miss the friends and the relationships you made the most. But
lovely.
But more than that, I think the way that the country is run, just that whole thing, the forward looking, the vision that the country as a whole has, I think I definitely miss that. And if I can add, I think, and this happens even now when I travel, I actually miss my toast box coffee more than anything else.
Yeah, and also the toast, and of course the
Yes.
kopi and all of that.
Well, the kaya butter toast, and sometimes when I land at the airport and if there's a counter there, I actually have that before getting home.
That's wonderful. And you know what? Here I would like to tell all our viewers as well that if you want to communicate with us, you want to leave a message, you want to tell us something, you want to ask these two any questions, you could do that. You could leave a comment here, or you could also go to our social handles. You could go to our IG, Instagram, and you can leave your comments there. You can read the questions that we've been asking over the episodes, because at the end of Joy of Singapore, we also ask a question for our viewers. So I'm going to do that with our viewers as well. But before that, I am going to give a little trivia about Singapore. So let's have a look at this. Back, and before I move to the next segment, which is the trivia, I would like to go back because I had asked you, so one thing that you would miss when you go from Singapore and the thing that you would miss the least when you go out of Singapore. So the least part has not been answered. So is there something that you're not going to miss at all?
That's a very tricky question. So I would say the thing that I would maybe miss least is the strict way of life.
You mean a very disciplined way of life?
Yes.
Okay.
Which I enjoy as well, but then I think if you are asking what I'd miss least, I think a little bit more easygoing might be easier.
Okay, so that is quite nice of you to share that with us. So thank you so much for that. And going back to our audience now, and we would love to hear from you if you have any questions or if you want to answer this next question, which has been brought to you, especially on Montage of Singapore. We're going to flash a question for you right on your screens right now. And the question that I have for you this evening is a very simple question. You guys let me know what you think about it. And we also have a question here, which I'm going to read out of my card. And that question says, on which banknote can you find the lyrics to the Singapore anthem? Okay. On which banknote can you find the lyrics to the Singapore anthem? Option A, $1,000 note. Option B, a $500 note. Option C, a $100 note. Or option D, a $50 note. So what is your answer is what I want to know from you. You can choose to answer right here, or you can go to our social handles and you can answer there. And you can look at all the questions in all the episodes that we have asked you, because this is a very special segment where we ask our audience a question and you stand a chance to, win a chance to come on this show. You'll be seated next to me and I'll be asking you all these questions. But for that, you need to answer all the questions in all the episodes. And you can find all those questions in our Instagram handle, which is called Montage of Singapore. Okay, so don't forget to do that. Right here, You have to just answer this one right now. If you have any questions that you want to ask Bindu and NJ, you could do that as well right now. So we'll be taking some live audience questions also in the show. So just feel free to write to us. And for now, we will be going to our next segment here. And you guys stay tuned because we'll be back after this very short break.
Available anywhere across the world with the app Radio Masti 24/7. The 24-hour station offers a vast variety of programs filled with local, global and Indian content along with Bollywood gossip and updates. Make sure you add Masti to your lives. Download the app today and stay energized and connected on the go. Radio Masti 24/7 Live, Singapore's only Bollywood radio since 2009.
So we have our community champions here in the studio. We'll talk about their contribution to the society and how they champion giving back to the society. But before that, very interestingly, we have a question right here on our screens, and I would like to read this to the two of you and let me know what you think about it. And this is an anonymous question somebody has shared with us, and they want to know, hi Bindu and NJ, in your experience, what is the top struggle for immigrants looking to settle down in Singapore, for adults as well as kids? So according to you, what do you think is the top struggle that immigrants, face when they're looking at settling down in Singapore? Anybody wants to answer?
Yeah, you want to go first?
Okay, so since we have been here almost 3 decades, I would say that struggles have also changed. So when we had come here, recognition of our faces, Indians, it was a big thing those days. People would not accept foreigners. But over the years, we have seen that things have changed. And of late, I understand the biggest struggle, of course, is the cost of living. And also, people who want to make Singapore their permanent home are not able to because of the PR and the citizenship situation, for which we were lucky because we got what we wanted.
And then I think it's a great place to be because the way, we feel inclusive now.
Yeah.
And the way I was talking to another guest the other day, and they got married about 30 years back, and it was, an intercultural marriage. And they said that people at that time were not as open to accepting intercultural marriages.
True.
As, of course, now it is like not a big deal, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. So thank you so much for answering that so candidly on the show. This is what we want this show to be. And now it is time that we talk about our next segment, which is the community champion. We know that both of you have been actually contributing in very interesting ways back to society. I know that there is a bursary program that you contribute to. Also, you encourage students to do better, especially the ones who are coming from underprivileged or families which cannot afford their studies and they are really bright. So, yeah.
Well, actually, both Bindu and I share a passion for helping people with education because we think that has long-term impact on not just their lives but their families' lives. So from early days, I would say, even when we had only a small amount to contribute, we would contribute to the school pocket money fund, which still continues. And now, as you mentioned, with some of the tertiary institutions, we have a few bursaries and scholarships running. We also contribute to, there's a program called 1 for 10 share of the community chest, and through some of the other local charities. So it's good. It keeps us grounded and it keeps us engaged with.
How lovely, it's wonderful. There should always be a purpose which is bigger than oneself, and it's
Absolutely.
a great way of contributing back to people who need it. Because I somehow feel that when we come to a certain level in life, it becomes our inner responsibility also to enable others to do better.
Sure, absolutely.
So That's a wonderful, wonderful thought, I would say. And do you believe there is a need for initiatives to encourage racial harmony in Singapore? What are your thoughts about that?
I think it is twofold. The government here is, of course, very active in promoting, racial harmony. But I think the other thing, which I also heard one of your earlier guests say, that people should also be doing it more organically, just in day-to-day interactions. And I think that is one area where, as a country, we could do more. And I think something that has come up in the past, that the fact that we are very reserved and we don't necessarily make friends so easily, I think comes in the way of understanding each other. So there's an old saying that I remember which says that a stranger is a friend in disguise. I think we need to uncover more friends, whether it's in an elevator, whether it's in a queue. And I think that will do a lot more for racial harmony.
That's a wonderful, yeah.
Absolutely.
I love the quote. Let me use it again and reuse it again.
It's not mine, so you don't have to pay me royalty for it.
Thankfully for the quotes, we are not yet paying royalty in the world.
Okay.
So I'm very glad. But yeah, I mean, as naturalized citizens, Bindu, this question is for you. Have you, as a naturalized citizen, ensured unbiased contribution to the community? If yes, how?
Yeah, actually, just now Narinder mentioned. So we are both. One thing we are compatible in is philanthropy. Okay.
Yeah, we all need to be.
Yes.
So we both believe in it, and we do it together. So it's the same bursary, and the SIT, and we help a lot of students. And in fact, I would like to share something with you. We do the same in India also, because we owe it to India and Singapore, we feel. So we are trying to integrate the philanthropy in the sense that in India, we had students who were in need of, spoken English. So they were not feeling confident because they were not good in English. And we have found volunteers in Singapore who are willing to help them.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah,
So that is going to another level of, exchange, which
Absolutely.
is at a global level,
Yes.
which is wonderful. And sitting here in Singapore and doing this is great. So I would like to congratulate the two
Thank
of you
you.
for doing such wonderful work and inspiring many people who are watching this out there to do more work at their own levels, which
Sure.
is very important. Well, we're going to take a very short break here because I have something very special to give to our guests on the show. So here I would like to present the two of you with this very special gift this
Thank you so
evening.
much.
And I want the two of you to hold it because I'm going to tell you something very special about it. This is an exclusive digital print, one of the 13 that's being presented to you this on this show, the Singapore Skyline, clicked especially by Nin9 Studios. As you may have noted, the colored version of this is our set of Montage of Singapore right
Oh,
here.
that's right.
So you can, see the thing. And then let me just take this back perhaps, and then I'll put it on the side so we can continue with our show. And I will ask you one last question, which is a very important question here. So are you guys ready for this?
Of course.
So first of all, you tell me, how was your experience on the show? Was it nice, pleasant, nervous, anxiety-stricken?
I think all of the above.
that is the answer I would choose if I was doing an MCQ. But yeah, all of the above is good. So I want you to introduce our next guest. This is how we progress in the show. So every time there is a guest on the show, we request them to introduce our next.
Yeah, well, I am very happy to do that. And I believe the next guest is a very senior corporate person, but he's also been appointed a Justice of Peace by the President of Singapore. And he heads the Sikh community, interest group. I'm sure he'll make an excellent guest, or tile, as you call it.
Yes.
And I'm sure he'll have a wonderful story to share as well.
Thank you so much, Bindu and NJ, for joining us on Montage of Singapore this evening. It was lovely having you.
Well, thanks
for having us. Thank you.
Okay, so that was Bindu and NJ with us on Montage of Singapore, a very special show aimed at bringing people together here and getting everyone to basically come together as well as speak about their lovely initiatives that they have been contributing to in Singapore in various ways, whether it is in terms of charity, bursary, or in terms of giving out a helping hand where one is needed. So, a beautiful evening, a great conversation. I hope that you guys enjoyed it as well. If you want to leave your comments, you want to write to us, you want to introduce somebody to this show, you could very well do that. And find our Instagram handle, that is Montage of Singapore. You could also listen to us and view us on our app and other socials as well. And with that, it is time that I take your leave, but with a promise that I'm going to be back tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. on Montage of Singapore, where we will have an exciting guest that NJ just introduced. And just to keep it secretive in a way that we'll be letting you know more about him tomorrow when he comes on the show, this is time that I say thank you for your time. And it was absolutely indeed a pleasure to have you on the show this evening on Montage of Singapore, curated by Masti Media Network and supported by National Integration Council. This is your host for the evening. Goodbye.